The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
To the Worth call, the weekly training call, and you're on Lombardi time, which is great. And let me make sure, this is Steve Young, by the way, President of Marketing and Sales for Worth Unlimited, and we're excited to be able to introduce our guest speakers tonight. And wanted to say a few things to you. One, Lombardi time is when you show up early. You know, in fact, you don't show up on time, you show up early. That's how you win. So thank you for the gift of your time and everybody's there. You're up for an awesome treat. By the way, all the training that's been going on in terms of closing and learning how to input, Darlene Preston's been giving that training, and she's done it the last couple of weeks in a row, and that training is located now into your back office. And if you go in there and go back in and click on new and go to the 3-part sales training, you'll see it all there. There's 3 parts. And if you want to learn how to do this business, you're involved with a business that's in a box. It's duplicatable, transferable. It's brilliant. And I have to tell you, I've had the pleasure of working with Darlene. And you might say, well, who's Darlene Preston? Well, she's a woman. First of all, she serves on the advisory board along with Joan Hockenstock, Dr. Joan, and also Brian Daly and Darlene to help make decisions for what's good for the whole company and for the team and the sales team, which is awesome. She also helps making just daily decisions. She's also gone out cumulatively between her experience in You First and Worth and closed somewhere in the vicinity of 400 transactions. And I'm going to tell you, everybody, when you go and close 400 transactions, I think you know what you're doing. And I'll give a personal testimony. We have some very good salespeople we know, marketing people like not sales, marketing people, communicators that I've talked to recently and saw Darlene's last couple of tapes and trainings, and they said, wow. You see, she just puts things and phrases things in a way, uses a one-liner, a slight different approach, and I've heard from at least a half a dozen people that said, that was awesome, I'm going to use that. So it is definitely worth your while to pay attention to the training. Go back and listen to it several times. That's why it's there. It is business in the box. Your training is right there. Take advantage of it. And Darlene, I have to tell you, she runs her team with just, flawless effort, but constantly working to make sure people are taken care of. We do a call with her on a weekly basis lately, and she's always got new PowerPoints up, explaining things to people, asking people for their input. She's really a player's coach, if you will. She's in there with the team, makes a big difference, and with those kind of records that I just told you about closing, folks, that's called success. Hence, both John and Skylar were asked her to step up to the plate and now do the agent training closing, which is going on tonight. And you want to get your pencil sharpened. This will be in the back office again, but there's nothing better than you taking notes and listening to every word that she says, because she gets results, folks. And this is going to tie right now to some of you that might want to learn how to go be certified field closers. that's unbelievable, because that's a position that you can apply for. The company's just initiated and started. That is great. And before I turn it to Darlene, I got to remind you, you've got 15 days left, just 2 weeks and a day, before the sales promotion is over, where you can join this company for $49. Now, that's ridiculous, folks. I mean, you go out for dinner with your spouse or partner, and you're spending $49. That's a lunch, okay? And you get a business that's transferable, duplicatable, that you can repeat and learn how to generate success by saving people one American family at a time, by getting out of the bondage of debt. Cut me a break. I love that stuff. And so not only is that available to you, but guess what? When you join this business, you get a 30% discount on your own program for the first 30 days. So there's multiple reasons. And then we have a program that you're going to find out about how to get promoted. But it all starts with learning how to communicate the process, learning how to close people to the next step, and learn how to collect payments and activate your clients. So you learn how to do that, you can get paid here twice a week. Now, ain't that something? That's pretty good. How about that? Now, this is your business. It's what you want to make of it. But if you didn't have troopers and really field people, and she's a field partner like Darlene Preston, we wouldn't be where we are today. So, Darlene, thank you for the gift of your time and what you're sharing with everybody. And you take the call from here. Thank you so much for your time.
Well, thank you, Steve, and welcome to the call, everyone. I'm glad to see you here. But I just want to add that my husband and I do this together. We've been doing it together for quite some time, and it's really been a joy to work with all the new agents coming in and all the old ones reactivating. So I appreciate the opportunity to share some of the things that we've done over the years to get people started. So with that, let's go ahead and get talking about closing and finally doing the final end of the process as far as this portion of closing, because closing, it really goes on beyond actually making a collection. So with that, we're going to try something a little different today, but we'll see if this information does get through to everybody. And my screen has decided it's going to work, maybe. So we'll see what we can do here. All right, so for your closing, we talked about the 3 portions that we divided it up in. And of course, you can divide it up some more, and there's more details. We're just going to take a closer look into the final part here that says, how do you make the collection, for the payment of the program, and then activating that client on using their Worth account. Because what's the purpose of having the program, you're not using it? So if you get them through that hurdle of getting registered in and putting their name in and password and all that stuff, then you have them ready. So the process would be basically making sure that analysis is completed. Then you as the agent or the closer will present the results and make sure that activation takes place, and then possibly even making sure they're aware of the fact that there's a new agent, possibly, available program for them. And then guess what, guys? Repeat and duplicate, repeat and duplicate. So just getting right into the program, this is a screenshot of where we left off the last session that we had, and we presented the results. So today we're going to have a mix of the PowerPoint presentation screenshots, as well as the back office. The reason that we're doing more of the screenshots is because it's really hard to give you all the details in pictures from the live back office, because you need a sale, money has to be paid and all that kind of good stuff. So with that understanding, here's where we left off last week. And as Steve has mentioned, go to the news section in your back office, and just look for the dates and the programs that are being run in that section. So when you see the analysis is completed down the right side of your back office on the prospects, are you completed? Is the analysis completed? Well, I'd like to say that's the completion of the free analysis, but there's so much more to really complete the analysis. So I don't really think you're complete just because it says on the tab that you're completed. So what are we looking at? We want to make sure we compare where the person is and where the program can get them. How many years are they going to erase? How much money are they going to erase? And then where can we get them in time and money? So we want to make sure we identify the cost of being in debt. Like when that dollar pops up, we talked about the dollar comparison, or we talked about how many extra dollars are going to pay in interest alone. So when you run the analysis, that's how, when you ran the analysis, that's how you got the numbers, and that's where all of those extra information points are. The free analysis is completed when you've put the information in, you have given them their results, reviewed the PDF, and then also talk to them about moving forward, giving them their options. Once they have those options, carrying them through to payment, and then making sure that those questions are answered. You know, don't let them just wander off and say, okay, I'll get back to you. Or this was good information, let me talk it off with someone. And there are different things that you would need to say to make sure you keep their attention captive. All right, so you want to then get to the point of processing to the purchase of the program. And then once it's purchased, based on any of the options you've offered, set the appointment for the training with the Worth coaches, Worth account coaches. All right, so that would be at the office, and that does come up in the closing process. I usually take the person right through to their new program with their new password they put in and their username, and then we just open up the screen and open it up. So I'll show you that in a little bit. Here's some little helpful tips that I have found over the time, is that make sure that when you've entered into the back office, the analysis, when you open up the analysis, you will create a new scenario. Now, you may have intentionally created that by putting the new name in there, which is, this says with new information. I just abbreviated it. And it will have 2 scenarios or 3 scenarios under the analysis field. Please be sure that you have selected the correct analysis when you open it up. Now, let me just let you know that once it's open, there is a place to confirm that you have selected the right one, and you can select another one if you need to. But if you select the wrong one in the beginning and you go through the shopping cart and they really wanted to use the information in this scenario and you left it on the automated, this is the default one, and that's the information that will carry through. So be sure that you have that information identified and rename it, if you need to. All right, so we're back in the analysis position here. We have gathered all the information's in here. There's a quick review. There's a discretionary. You can open up the little tabs to see all the different things that are in there. But for time's sake, let's keep on going here. So you see that you have confirmed their name, right? Confirm their name. It's very easy to pick up the wrong name when you're going through your list of prospects. Make sure they're aware of the discretionary. That's money they're going to put either in their line of credit or their savings account to use to get rid of the debt. And then if you are doing it over a webinar, you press live presentation or a web conference. That would email them a link, and they would open it up and they would see what you're seeing. I just like doing the GoToMeeting like you're on now, GoToWebinar or something like that. It's just that you have more control with your pointer, your clicker. All right, so the next section you'll end up seeing is this section right here. It says send client the cart. When you've completely gone through it, this lights up to a lighter green, and you can send them the cart from here. I don't send them the cart until I go all the way through again, when I open it back up with them and I'm reviewing it, go all the way through to the shopping cart at the end, make sure all the information is correct, because that's where I can edit it before it gets sent to them. And then I'll come back here and send them the shopping cart. So you start it, and then you would press let's go, and then you have all those other windows that'll pop up there for you once you get started, right on the bottom. That's the PowerPoint that we went through on each screen. All right, so you have that information. Now, the reason I'm going back to this screen here is just to show you different places. You have to go back to that screen in order to send them, to open up the report right there. And it opens up the report, the PDF. All right, remember we went over that, each line. And you may want to review that if the person comes back on the phone the second call. A lot of times we do close on the first call, so we've already done this portion of it before they decide to purchase. That's the second half of the PDF. All right, so here's a lot of information on the screen, but this is why this is important. When you're in the shopping cart, several things will pop up. If you notice the red over here, that basically says, hey, you can't do anything without an address. So this is usually where a lot of people have a little conflict. If they're getting ready to send the shopping cart and they're doing PayPal, this information won't get sent. Nothing will go because it will get stopped. You need to have the address completed. All right. And just a rule of thumb, if you see anything red on the application of the shopping cart, you definitely need to review that and make sure it's complete. So this is the shopping cart. There's a word that's discount over here. And that's something you need to take care of in the beginning. So this can be the military discount, the first responder discount. This can then also be the agent discount, because you know there's a bonus for people to sign up as an agent. All right. Down here, I'm just going to, this section here is for if an agent gets started, you'll see if they're already signed up as an agent, it'll give them the discounted amount, the discounted price, and then it'll say how many days they have left. Now, let me just give you a little note that I do. This counts down from 30 from the day they become an agent. So if they become an agent on the 1st and they don't start doing their analysis until the 5th, then that's 5 days gone off of that 30. However, I don't use this as a 30-day count for that new agent to get started, because a lot of times people will do something called procrastination. That means if they see, oh, I have 20 days, I'll get back to you on that. I don't want that. So what I'll generally do when I see this pop up, and they'll see it too, say they have 30 days or 25 days, I generally say, now, this is your discount, and look how much you received as a bonus. It's always great to help another person receive a bonus too, right? Right. What we want to do is help another person get a bonus. And you know, when you get another person that buys the program, they get, if they're an agent, for example, they'll get a discount as well. But you get promoted when another person, whether an agent or not, buys the program. And so this kind of gives you a tracking of how long you have until your 30 days runs out to get that fast start promotion. And remember, we talked about direct to director. So if you need another explanation, I can cover that again. If you have a question, just type it in. We'll cover that. However, that's a very good way to keep them from procrastinating. So the idea is to get the program now so that you can share it with others now, because people like you having the program as an agent. But you want that client of yours to do it now as well. All right. Once you make sure that that information will pop up here, if they're already an agent. If they're not an agent, then it's going to be looking like that. If they're military, it'll pop up in a different color, but it'll also be up in that section. All right, let's keep on moving. All right, with that, you want to go back to your back office under the prospect section and complete the information that's missing. Complete the information. That's your back office. You want to make sure you have the discounts. Now, if it's military and you have not applied for the military discount or the first responder discount, you need to go to the news section and look up military discount or first responder discount. And with that discount, it will give you the info, what you have to do. Basically, you need to use a DD-214 or an ID or something that proves that this person is in that profession or they would qualify for that discount. That is, be sent to the corporate office. That corporate office will then put the discount in your back office under discount. You'll open that up, copy the code, and paste it in on the shopping cart. All right, remember, you should do that ahead of time if you want to get it going. Now, keep in mind, if this person that you're putting in is an agent, they can only get one discount, either the first responder in the military or the agent discount. Well, which one do they want, the 10% discount or as a new agent, the 30% discount? Okay, I guess that was a question I didn't need to ask, but you need to know. So with that information, you take this, you make sure the shopping cart is correct, and it's very easy to make typos and things of that nature. And again, make sure you capitalize when necessary. Now you're back in the back office, and you want to send the shopping cart. See, this is not an agent, and they're not military, so there's the price. There's their information, all right? And what you're going to explain is, I'm going to send you the shopping cart. If you choose to use PayPal system, you see it's already checked, go ahead and leave that there. Type your name in exactly the way you see it. And guys, when they start typing, this will be highlighted in yellow. Type it exactly the way you see it, and then this X will become a check, a green check. You then would press PayPal. Now, in a couple of minutes, I'm going to talk about PayPal because there's a lot of ways that you can make a mistake. For example, If you're on a GoToMeeting and they're, typing their information in on your screen, it will automatically throw up red flags. You cannot do it that way. You need to make them the presenter, or you need to send them the shopping cart. All right, so we'll talk about that a little bit more in detail, because guys, I hit all the errors when it first came out. I didn't have a sample, so I just was trying to get people in. All right, so now you're getting ready to send the shopping cart that I just showed you. You need to go back to the summary. That's your summary. You need to go back to your summary. Select the plan this person has. So these windows are what this is over here. It'll be a drop down. The drop down will say the price based on a platinum. It'll be a gold, or if they want the other payment options. You click on those payment options like we showed you last week, and then you press submit. All right. Submit will then change the screen and tell you what's going on. So it'll send this screen out to your prospect. All right. And it'll have their name and all this information filled out. And if their agent, as you see, it'll put that information in and the new price. When you have that information locked on the bottom, it is the original price without discounts. When you open the shopping cart, the discounts appear. All right. So you have to just look at it. You'll notice all these different things will pop up on your screen. It'll also let you know that the client has been sent the shopping cart, and it is using the address that is in your back office. Also, if you're running through the analysis and you're putting information in and you run into the fact that their email is different, they changed it, or their name is different and they changed it, you can change it in the analysis, but you have to go back to the back office on your prospect page and officially edit it on the page I showed you a couple of slides ago. You have to put it in there in order for it to come properly on this page. All right, that's where you change it. That's where you can edit it. All right, so just so you know, this was like an online GoToMeeting that I was doing, and we put their information in. So this is just this is the bottom of the screen that I wanted you all to see. It's pretty easy. Right in the middle, it says the terms. It'll say sample, and this is all you're doing. A lot of times, I'll have the person, I'll send it to them, and I'll stay on the phone with them so I can help them go through some of the questions that may come up, and there'll be questions coming up. What they'll receive in their email is a letter that looks like this. It'll have the analysis PDF on the bottom, and then a link to the cart, your ID number, the cart. All right, and they just have to click that, and the same screens I showed you earlier will pop up. Let's say they want to use PayPal, and they select it at the bottom next to their name. Where I show you, they select that spot. This screen will pop up. Now, they want to really know if you already have the program, the PayPal system, or you're doing a new one. All right, and that's the reason it needs to be on their computer, or they need to be the presenter, which also uses their computer and that IP address on there, which I learned because that was another mistake I made in the beginning. Let me tell you guys, when you make those mistakes, it takes forever to get them fixed, but that's why I'm trying to give you a heads up about it. The price of the program will pop up on the Client Connect service page of PayPal. They would log in if they already have the program, because it's going to ask them, are you new or do you have it? All right, if you have to create a new one, it's going to ask the information. It's going to give you the price, all right, the price of the product right there, and it's automatically set up for them to just follow through and continue. And I'm going to let you know there's a lot of pages to continue, all right? So it's asking you want to buy things later. It's going to ask you the terms. It's okay. Just keep on going, agree, and continue, all right? As they're filling this out, it's saying what they're doing. You're applying for a line of credit. Is this what you want to do? And they will continue and agree. It's a 6 months interest-free option. So that's one of the options I wanted to talk to you about. Worth Unlimited, pay 6 months of interest for this person. All right, so we want them to know that if you pay this in 6 months, wow, that was an interest-free line of credit for you, and then you can use it at another time as well. So you still have all of these screens that it will do, but I just want to make sure you're seeing the different views. That it will say the price of what they are applying for. It is a credit check. If they're applying new, they'll have to create their password, create their, confirm it and so forth. Now, they will receive this also. It'll say you are applying for credit. They ask it like 3 different times. It has their email. It sends them the information in their email. That has to be correct as well. It has to be precise, or else it will turn out as look like fraud. So it's important. Agree and apply, or cancel, but they don't ever. So the little clock goes around, and then it comes back, and in less than a minute it says you're approved, and it gives them their credit line. If you notice, this person this is what their program was, and that was their credit line. Now, that doesn't happen with everybody. Sometimes it may be a little less than what they need. All right. And then they would have to use that for part of it and use our system in the back office for the rest. And I'll show you how that all works. All right. So let me show you when it doesn't quite work the way it's supposed to. Say the person's going to be buying the program and not using PayPal, but using the credit card system and all that. And I'll show you on the slides and on the back office in a moment. And it comes up saying decline. Well, there's lots of reasons it could be declined. The number could be put in wrong. The name doesn't match what's on the card or the address. But if it comes up decline, it could be that it says if that monthly payment, the monthly payment went through, but the deposit didn't go through. So one or both may be declined. Now you have to know that when you're using the other system, not the PayPal system, remember we already got that, that's done. When you're using one of the other options, the system will automatically send $1 charge to that person's card. A lot of times that happens at, other large purchases people make, so they're familiar with that. That $1 is to see if all the information is connected correctly. But if it tries to run it, sometime it won't go through. If that's the case, you need to X out of this, because it's declining it, X off of it, and say it's a number error. You still have to put that number in again. All right. I usually go back and have them put everything back in again, because if there's one thing that's wrong, it'll throw it back out again. All right. So even though you say okay, you still have to go back and put the credit information in again. All right. Now, this was actually on the client's, I sent the shopping cart to them. All right. And it'll have the current agent's name at the bottom. Just letting you know, those are little tips that you might know. All right. Congratulations. That person fixed it. And so they'll receive a congratulations letter, and they'll receive their ID number. If you are already an agent, that ID number for your software will match if you're already an agent. So that's good. One less number to worry about, right? It'll give the client, the new client, who's now from a prospect to a client, their link on the Worth account to get to where they can open up their program. It'll also ask them to schedule a training now. Now, I missed this one time, and I couldn't understand why that client could not get in and to their new program. It's because we had an incomplete process. You need to schedule the training. When you click schedule training now, it's going to open up this screen. Whether they're working on your GoToMeeting or they are online meeting, or they're on their own screen, this screen will pop up and say, hey, when do you want to have your appointment? They can select the date, specific times, select when they want to do it, and then it'll send them information, and it'll also pop up in their receipt, the new receipt that they were receiving. All right, so all that's in there, but you have to do it. Now, if they don't want to do it now, they can write schedule later. Schedule later. But I always ask them to, let's go ahead and schedule it, and if for some reason you need to change it, let's get on there and call the company and change it. The numbers are there. So this is the sample that you'll be seeing if they have the shopping cart. That's what you see. All right, it's kind of a static screen. You won't be able to see what they're doing, but at least you see that it went through. All right, so now it's time, after they did their appointment, it's now time to get their ID set up. So they put in a username. Once it turns green, that means it's right. It's 8 letters or characters in that. They have to then set up their password and retype their password. This should be unique to the Worth account compared to the Worth Unlimited on back office as an agent. Once they type it in on the first one, it has to have 8 individual characters, it could be numbers and letters, but it has to have one of this and one of that, at least, cap, lowercase. And I say it's a Dumafleegi, but you guys know what I mean, some kind of weird character. Once they all three turn green, they then will create that account. When they open up the account, it'll then, that's the end of where you'll see it. We then take them to the Worth account process. I have them put in their username and their password. And when they do that, it'll open up the screen. So the screens that open up will ask them questions. The main reason I do this is because if you look at this button right here, if you tell them to click that button, it'll then show letters instead of the bullets. And they can open up every question and then answer those questions. Regular security questions, guys. Drop down, show my typing, you'll be able to see the answer. All right. Well, with that, you also want them to fill in this information. And I always say, before you press save, copy your passwords and everything and your questions, because you want to have it on your any of your internet enabled devices. So their cell phone, the computer, the other person in the house computer, just so you have that available and you want to save that information. All right, then once they have that, save it and it'll open up the wizard. Now from there, the company will take it over. So I just wanted you to make sure I take everybody to those screens because I want to make sure that they feel comfortable with it and that it goes through. And that's how I found out that I did not help that person schedule their appointment, is because it wouldn't go through. All right, so that took you through there. We're going to look at the practical, the real life stuff in a second. And so I do want to talk about the fact that when you're referring or you're the agent that's doing being a referral agent, or you are doing agent closing as well, there are certain techniques and things that you need to do and pay attention to in order to make the system work properly. Okay, we don't want these to be cold calls, guys, and I'm going to explain what a cold call is. That's your responsibility if you're referring a person to the program. So let's see if I can show you quickly some of those back office shopping cart things that are available. Let's see. Well, I added a few more people came in there, but let's keep with Eartha Kitt because she's just been working so well. So she had her analysis completed, and look down here, guys. I've shown you that the shopping cart was sent to her address, and I showed you the email. I always tell them, listen, you're going to get an email. It's going to say this. It's going to do this. This is what to look for. If you know as the agent, or if you know as the coach, the closing coach, what to expect, it really puts them at ease. It releases that tension of something new. All right, so let's go into the analysis. And again, make sure before that purchase shopping cart is sent, you know which one you're going into. All right, you open and you get set in there. We already went through this, so we're doing a recap as we bring this meeting, this training to a nice close in a little bit. So there is your analysis. That is your summary and all that stuff. Before the shopping cart is sent, you need to already have confirmed all this stuff. All right, remember I said once you go through, it'll show you that you can send the shopping cart. So you don't want to accidentally send that. I don't like sending that until I'm done with everything, and then I'll come back there. So let's go to the live presentation. As a live presentation comes, it'll start off just like it always does. Look right here. See that says master? What if I wanted to pick up one of the others? Right there, I click on that. So, okay, right there at the top. So with that, all my things are right here on the bottom. Now, my screen is usually pretty large for everybody, so you won't see all these windows down here. Let's go. Now it's going to open up all the windows. Now, if you notice, this one is also a light green. Why is that? Because we've already been through the full presentation showing them how to get started. All right, so we're going to take you to that page really quickly. And remember, it's going to say the 30 days. It's going to do all of that. It's going to go to this page. Now, this page goes pretty quickly. There's two screens on this. It goes pretty quickly, and I usually just say, so your program is going to cost you, and I would read the price. All right, and so then I go back, and I'll say, well, so let's recap a little. What we've talked about is that you are debt-free, and I would have mentioned the amount of years that they're erasing, And if you knew that everything I've said was true and guaranteed, let me ask you a question. If you knew that you can save or erase $103,514.23, if you knew you could erase that and that you're going to save this many years and that you can now use your money for you, and your part would be $37.45. That's it for life. Based on the information you gave me, taking a snapshot of what you gave me today, this is guaranteeing you that if you follow the system, if you do what is necessary, you will be debt-free, blah, 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 blah. Do you believe that this $37.45 is a good investment for you to be able to, in yourself and your family, in order for you to save or erase $103,000 for that? And then don't say anything. All right. And sometime they may ask you to repeat it, or they may say, well, I don't know, I don't have that kind of money. Well, and I repeat my question again, because we're not talking about do they have the money. I said, do you think this is good for you and your family? All right. And then they do say yes and say, okay, well, let's see. I'll then go sometime, guys. I'm sorry about fumbling in there, but I then go back to the video. Sometime, not the video. I'll show them the PDF, if they have any questions. And so at this point, I do find out if they're military, first responder, something like that. I would have already done that because I know what their discount is. If they're an agent, it's still going to show the right price right here, and it changes when you get into the shopping cart. I say, well, is this a good time to get started on being debt-free? I'm already giving them the yeses, and remember how we did all of them saying yes all the way through. So let's go ahead and see what that looks like for you. Now, I will then talk to them. I'm going to show you what I show everybody, so you can see why I do a go-to-meeting. So, there are several options to take care of this. One is that most people just pay it in full. You can put it on a credit card or several credit cards, or you can even use our new program that has a PayPal system where it actually gives you 6 months interest-free, that our company takes care of the interest for you and helps you set that up and get that done right away for you. Which way are you leaning? So which way do you like? And they're like, well, I'm not sure. And then usually they'll tell me one or the other. Or I say there are other options. The other options are, if they want to know the other options, are that we can break it up a little. Maybe 2 payments, 3 payments, would 6 payments work for you? What would you like? Which way you're leaning? And I do then say, well, let's do this person wants 2 payments. Well, I'd like to do this, but, I need to kind of break that up a little. Okay, so what are you thinking? So while this page is on, I'll freeze my screen. Now, you can't see my mouse moving. You can't see anything that I'm doing. And I'll go to the back office. I'll go to the shopping cart. And they don't even know I'm doing this. So I'm talking about, you want this, or you want that, or you want this, you want that. And I'm already in there. All right. And they don't even know that I'm in there doing that, because we're just discussing what sounds good for you. All right. And I'm going to show it to you. But when the person says to me, well, I have to do payments, I can't do it in full, what type of options do you have? I said, well, we do finance. We're not a finance company, but we want to help you do this. Would you like to break that into maybe 3 payments, or put down a third of it now, and so forth? You say, yeah, I think I can do about $1,000 down. All right. And how would you like to break that up, the rest of that? Do you think that you can do that in, maybe 6 months or something like that? Well, what's a 6 months payment look like? All right. What's a 6 months payment look like? They didn't see any of the defaults. You can all see my screen. You see it that I put it in there, 6 months. Now, if they say, that's a little high for me. That's a little high for me. I will then block them out again. Are you thinking that perhaps, maybe, and I'll flip down. I'll say $298 or whatever, and I'll go into a year. And I say, what about $252? Does that sound pretty good for you? Why am I doing that? The reason that I'm doing that is when you have the default system, I'm going to go back into it so I can show you. You're on this page, and it's going to default into the system. So they say, okay, I need to break it up. You go to a shopping cart, you press the right side of your mouse, you click that you want to enable financing, and then you press shopping cart. It's going to ask you, this is the price. You have to drop down, and all these others come up. Guys, my suggestion is learn where it is, because I really don't want to get into the $299 and the $399, and that's my preference. You may want to break it down monthly with them and all of that. But I guarantee when you pull them up like this, they will ask you. So I put it in there and I just go right to what I want. And then I say submit. And those are just some other options that are out there if they ask me. So here's where it pulls up. I'm trying to get my screen back up to where it belongs. All right. And there's the price. Drop down over here. And then they can pay in full or they finance. And see, it gives it recommended paid in full. And I use that in my presentation. Now, if you just go right to that, it defaults the lowest possible amount deposit, the highest possible options for them to pay. And if you open up in front of them, I guarantee that if they started off saying 6 months and $1,000 down, and you go to this page at $495 and 24 months, they go, oh, wait, there are other options? And what do you think is going to happen? That's right. They're going to hit you on a higher month. You want them to get it done so they can get it out of the way. Get it out of the way. It's already built into their program, into the price. The total amount is already figured in on their saving, the amount of time they're going to save anyway. So it's already built in there. All right. So they have all the information in. They'd go down here, put their name in. And as you highlight this area, see, her name turns, that's the name you want to use, and then sign and submit. Now, this is the part I have to talk to you about because it's not on the screens. When you press sign and submit, remember we've already talked about the billing, credit card, you fill in all that stuff. This could also be a check or a credit card, whichever you want, debit card. All those options are there. If they use a credit card, if they use a check, that takes about 10 days to clear payments, funds to be received, and that does slow down your commission, but I always tell everybody what's best for the client, put it in there. All right, so you can take that credit card or you can take that check. They can also use multiple. Say they want to put a little bit on the check and they want to use another source for the balance. It'll just divide it out. All right, so that's one. And then what you want, you can add three different options. All right, now the monthly payment is another thing. So it's going to ask you, do you want to use the same as the down? And you can click that. And whatever address is up here, it'll come down here. And this may not be their physical address, the address that they use. So you have to be aware of that. All right, once you get all that stuff in, which is kind of double check the numbers and all that with them, again, I have them do all of that themselves, or I send them the shopping cart, whichever it is. Or I have them, they're the presenter. All right, that's why I say they're doing it themselves, they're the presenter. All right, then they type their name, they press submit, and then it goes off this screen. Now, as long as everything is in there correct, you'll get a security screen. The security screen comes up and has the person's email address that they put in on the back office that you already put in. And they'll also have a spot for a phone number. Even though they'll receive the security code information, which is saying it's a approval number. All of a sudden, I can't think of the exact name that it's called, but it is a number. It's a 6-digit character. It has letters and numbers, all capitals, and they'll receive that by email, and then they'll receive a text, and it'll say Work Unlimited or support, and they'll say this is your authorization code. All right, with that authorization code, they then have to type those in, and it has to be exact. Caps have to be when it's caps, or it's all caps and in numbers. Once they do that, the screen will come back up and let them know that they've been approved, or if something's been declined, whatever it is. You need to, if it's been declined, you need to go back and look at that again and put those things in again. All right, so you have to understand that there are several ways that they can go to the next screen. It has a lot to do with the fact that I'm not in a PowerPoint trying to go to the next screen. Sorry about that, guys. All right, so here we are, all that's done. And then you'll receive information on that, the congratulations and all that. I showed you that, but let me go back to that for just a moment. All right, so I want to go back to those screens real quick. Hold on one second. So they would have gotten the congratulations screen. Which of these? That's right here. Okay. I also will send them their receipt and also their welcome letter. Because if they're an agent, I have them make up a separate folder as an agent to put this in there as well. So they have 2 places, and there's the number. All righty then. So that kind of takes us through a lot of the options there. If they want to pay it in payments, it is billed out. It's automatic draft. They also, on their, before they sign, they'll be able to see what the terms are. All right. If you get to show you that, let me get there and show you the terms real quick, guys. And then I'll also show you the different pricing. So submit, and then it goes in. All right. So in the program here, when they get ready to do it, right in this section is the terms. It'll show them the interest, how much it's going to cost them monthly, and then how much they'll be paying in interest. They also have their 3-day right of rescission to cancel the program within 3 business days. They need to call the office if they want to cancel. And that information is right in there as well. And I tell everybody, because I want them to know that, you know, we are a legitimate business. Any legitimate business is going to have a 3-day right of rescission. All right. And so they have that, and they can send that to them into the office. Call the office will tell them what to do. Okay. I'm not sure if there's any other questions on that except for the different pricing systems. Let me show you that really quickly. That's something you can learn by using the back office. So when this section comes up, $299 down, $29.99 a month. That's a 2-year commitment. They will have to sign a 2-year commitment saying they will pay $29.99 a month to use the program, and that's a 2-year commitment. That's a down of $299. $399 down is another option at $39.99 a month, and that is monthly. So if in 3 months they say, oh, I want to get the program, I'm ready, they're not obligated to keep on paying the $39.99. All right, these 2 programs are more like trying it out, just seeing. Maybe they don't have, a lot of debt or a lot of money right up front, but they want to get started. That's a good way to do it, to do that. But look at this. If they're paying $399.99 down, $500's on a little bit more to own the program. But of course, the monthly payment will be a little higher. The $299 based on this person, remember the prices down here are based on the particular person that you're doing. So please don't go out and start quoting, pricing for the program. We have to run your analysis in order to do that. All right. So it has a platinum one or the regular platinum plus with multiple mortgages or the platinum. And then you also have the gold. Gold program is for a person that does not have a mortgage and less than $80,000 in debt. All righty. So that took us to that point. I believe that covers a lot of the closing and what your responsibility is. Because as I said, the closing doesn't end at the end of presenting the program. It goes on beyond that so that the person feels comfortable. I follow up to make sure that they have kept their analysis appointment. And how did it go? If you have any questions, you'll get a good feel. Great time to ask for leads also, all right, when they sign up. As well as after their analysis. All right, so we went through those screens. Let's take it down to why we're doing the training. One, you can do your own analysis, and you can do your own for all of your prospects. You don't need a coach if you feel as though you're comfortable to do that. 3 sessions or 3 hours of training is one of the requirements. But I can tell you that 3 hours of training is not going to do it. You're going to need to go in there and do your own. And you're going to need to practice, get with a coach, maybe get on one of your leads that you're referring out into a closing coach and ask them if you can get on the call. All right. That means that you have to be quiet. You can't put any of your 2 cents in. Okay. That's kind of hard for a lot of agents. But I ask all the clients that I'm on the call with, is it okay if the person that referred them is on the call with us? And they may say yes or no. If they say no, I make sure the agent knows that this is not for you to get on because the person has personal information they don't want to share. So that's important that you are aware of that. So you can be the referring agent just sending them out. And you can do that until you learn how to do it. So when you're assigning a person, it's very important. There are a few things that you really need to know. When you're putting them in your back office, you need to make sure you spell things properly, that you have all the information, their name, their email, their phone number. It's good if you have their address, especially if they're in a different time zone than the person is doing the closing. All right, you want to indicate that in the body of your back office that we went over several times. So it's important that you are, you have that information. Now, you can be a referring agent as well as the closer. Remember, guys, it's two separate commissions. You receive your full referral commission by referring that prospect. But as you learn to be a closer, you can earn extra closing commission. Now, that means that as a closer, you have to completely put in the analysis, present the results in a PowerPoint, and make sure the person gets activated, know the different processes and the pitfalls that you can fall into by doing the wrong system. Like if you use PayPal and you're on your computer, I can tell you now, you will not get that sale closed on the PayPal. So don't do it. All right. Did I have fun doing it? Yes, I sure did. Fixing it was worse. So it's easier to learn how to do it correctly than to have to get it fixed. Also, you always want to talk to see if that person wants to be a possible agent. Now, I usually talk to them at the end. If they're mine, I'll talk to them towards the end and I'll say, there's another option of paying the program, and getting a discount. Do you think you can share this information with others like I've shared with you? Can you tell them to get on a call with me or your upline or your sponsor, however you decide to do it? And they say yes, and I say there's an option. You think that you can do that? And I'll ask them a few more questions, and I'll tell them about the 30% discount. Then just repeat that. So here you are. You're talking to a bunch of people. You're on your computer. You want to talk to a friend and say, hey, is this something that I want to show you about, tell you about? You call a coach. I'm going to send a coach to you. I'm going to send a person to you that they're going to call you, and they're going to tell you how this all works. All right? And then that coach will call your prospect, will set that appointment, and will run the analysis and run it all the way through, and you will see that all in your back office. So check your back office. Check your back office. And, of course, you get paid when they decide to move forward. And your commission is based on whether they pay in full or they pay payments, what type of program they receive, the total cost of the sale itself. All right? So this is very important. Please confirm whether you're doing the sale, the closing, or someone else coaching. Make sure you confirm the information is correct in your back office. Make sure the prospect is expecting the coach to call if you're referring this out, if you're assigning them. They need to be expecting. So those people that you're getting in your back office that there's no phone number showing, that's because they requested the ebook. The ebook doesn't have them putting in their phone number because basically we just want to get their email and get them get the book. And if they're interested, if you're following up, then they'll give you the email and everything else you need. But if you see that in your back office on the prospects, that is your cue to say, hey, I hope you got the ebook. I hope you're enjoying it. Do you have any questions? Here's my contact, and send them a video. Do not assign them. They are considered cold calls. Closers will not do cold calls. Their job is to close and inform. To inform and enclose instead of backwards, but to inform the person they're assigned what the program's about, how it'll affect them, how much they'll be able to save, and if they're ready to move forward, the cost and what they need to do next. It is not to pitch the program to them. So I hope that's clear because we had a lot of question about that. We want to also make sure that all decision makers, whenever possible, are on the call. Because then you get a person saying, well, I got to talk to my wife, or well, I got to talk to my husband. Now, a little side note on that. Yes, that happens a lot. People are not at the home at the same time. I don't cancel an appointment if I can't get both of them, but I generally only take it to the summary and try to get them all on the call because the end of that summary, the summary takes about a half hour if everything is ready, and then the rest of that takes another half hour if a person is understanding. So you can break it up in that regard. So when you're signing, I generally request an hour with all the decision makers on the phone, if possible. If not, I still run it, but I will take it from there. If I'm a closer, we are training on that to be flexible, to be able to break it into 2 meetings if you have to, or 3. Make sure everyone has internet access, all right? Because if you're doing it, unless you're doing it in front of them, but most people, if you're going to be doing a closing for other people, it might be a different state or different areas. You want to have access, and you want them to have access. Debt information. Okay, guys, just recapping. Most recent creditor bills. not the electric bill in their leased vehicle rental. They're renting their house, their apartment, or whatever. That's how we're talking. We're talking about creditor bills, and they can use the worksheet. A new worksheet is coming that's closer to what the questions are in the back office, so that should help you when I am recommending that the closers send that sheet, so the person is more prepared. This is very important when you're trying to make sure you have the most effective presentation. Time zone. Even though you see the time zone, please, in the body of the request, say this person is in this time zone. There are some exceptions to the rules, like Arizona. Their time zone differs. So don't assume that the closer knows the time zone and that you know the time zone the closer's in. That's the first way to make a big mistake. So either way, whether the person puts their gets their bills together or they fill out the form, the fact is they need to have that with them, that information. And here's the overall information: balance owed, interest rate, and monthly closing, monthly payments. And there is a difference between required payment and what they actually pay. That extra, that's your discretionary. So we'll go into some more description on those details. All right, so generally an hour is what we're looking at. Keep the appointment in your radar. Check the back office, check with your client. Be a good referring agent that wants an effective close. Be that person that stays on top of it and make sure the decision maker is there. So if you decide to be the closing agent, you're responsible for all of that too. All right, you can do this. It just takes a little bit of practice. I promise you. All right. So sometimes it's more than 2 appointments. Be patient, but talk to your prospect and talk to your coach, the coach of them. They'll help you understand that. And here are the responsibilities of the coach. Now, the new coach position, I know they'll go over that again. It requires 3 training hours. You have had 3 training hours. Review it often. You also need to sign an understanding agreement that says, I will do everything within this guideline. And I know Skylar has covered that, and we'll cover that again. You also need to have 5 sales that you have closed personally recently, all right? And you'll get that determination. If you're interested in doing that, make sure you cover the bases. At least have watched those 3, participated, hopefully on a go-to-meeting, because that kind of proves that you watched them, all right? So it's important that you know where your sales are. On the prospects or sales, you'll see it, and then it'll be pending or processed, all right? And with that, we have completed entering the documentation. We have completed part 2 on presenting the analysis through PowerPoint as well as the PDF. And we have talked about collection and options, goods and bad sides of those options. And we have also talked about the purchase and the setup. So at this point, I can say that you have a good basis of information to go out there and say, I want to refer, but I want to listen in. All right. If you feel as though you feel comfortable with the numbers and everything, then go ahead and make it happen. But talk to somebody and make sure you have everything in place. And so, leaving you guys a couple of minutes, I'm going to turn this call. I want to thank you on behalf of myself and Harry being allowed to share this training with the team. I hope that it's been informative and helpful. And we enjoy what we do. We enjoy helping others. And I know we have a lot of agents out there that are ready to make a difference in their lives as well as others. So don't quit now, guys. Give it all you got and stand up and make a difference in your life. And you will be able to help others. So again, thank you so much. Guys, back to you.
All right, everybody. We want to thank you so much for jumping on the call this evening. That was some excellent information, Darlene. Thank you so much for the diligence and the effort and the time that you put in there. Excellent training this evening. Remember that the promos, all of the promos are scheduled to end in roughly 15 days. So if you haven't gotten in touch with anybody, if there's people that are still on your name list, get that phone ringing, get up, get engaged, get people in. As you can see, there's a lot of energy, a lot of excitement, a lot more trainings going on. All of the information that you need is available to you either through agent support or is available through the individual that recruited you through the system, or through the information that's listed in your back office. Do remember, mark your calendar for July 16th. That will be another hallmark call for our business. And I'm just very excited about what we're seeing. Darlene, excellent presentation. Everybody that's participated with us in helping to put this whole thing together and to move this forward. So many people have come forward and stepped up and really taken on the responsibilities that are necessary to help this grow and expand. So we want to thank everybody for joining us. Do know this presentation was recorded, so this will be posted in the news section of your back office. Mark July 16th, but also mark next week's call to make sure that you get on that. Just because we have a 4th of July weekend doesn't mean that we're going to take off that following Monday. So there will be a call there. And once again, from everybody here at Worth Unlimited and everybody in the field team and all those, let's get out there and do it big. Let's get out there and do it right. But at the very least, let's get out there and do something right now. This is Max Saunders saying bye-bye for now.